Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Today in the rLounge, watch out for your husbands. Some of them are being coveted by the most audacious family members imaginable, and others, well, they're just showing you exactly how little effort they're willing to put in while acting like it's your job to do everything. Family, am I right? Up first, a cousin who apparently thought family support meant throwing herself at the groom, just to make sure he was really the one for you. Cousin tried to outshine me at my wedding by throwing herself at my groom. She was dragged out by security. My boyfriend of 4 years proposed during our vacation. We'd talked about marriage before, but the timing and the setting were perfect. I said yes immediately. When we got back home, we announced our engagement on social media. The post blew up with congratulations from friends and family. Most people were genuinely happy for us, except my cousin. She sent me this over-the-top message that felt off from the start. Quote, "Oh my God, congratulations. I'm literally crying right now. I've been waiting for this day forever. We're going to have too much fun planning your wedding together." End quote. For context, my cousin and I have never been close. She's 2 years younger than me and has always had this bizarre competitive streak. Growing up, if I got a new bike, she needed a better one. If I got an A on a test, she'd make sure everyone knew she got an A+. It was exhausting, but I mostly ignored it as we got older and our lives went in different directions. A few days after our announcement, she called me telling me that she was going to be one of my bridesmaids. I was caught off guard. We hadn't spoken in months before the engagement announcement, and now suddenly she was inserting herself into my wedding party? "I'm so excited to stand next to you on your big day. What color are you thinking for the bridesmaids' dresses? I look really good in emerald green, just saying." After thinking about it for a few days, I called her back and explained that while she was invited to the wedding, I had already chosen my closest friends to be bridesmaids. She didn't take it well. "Are you serious right now? I'm your family. Those girls will be gone in a few years, but I'll always be your cousin. This is such a slap in the face." "I'm sorry you feel that way, but this is my decision." "You're being incredibly selfish. I can't believe you'd exclude me like this. You've always been so self-centered." Fast forward a week, and my aunt, her mother, called me. She spent 20 minutes trying to guilt me into making my cousin a bridesmaid, saying she was absolutely devastated and that family should always come first. Our engagement party was at a nice restaurant with about 40 guests. When my cousin walked in wearing a white dress, I couldn't believe it. Everyone knows you don't wear white to any wedding-related event unless you're the bride. It wasn't just white. It was a full-on cocktail dress that could easily have been a casual wedding dress. She kept finding ways to be near my fiancé. She'd laugh too loudly at his jokes, touch his arm when she talked to him, and somehow managed to be seated near him during dinner. My fiancé was visibly uncomfortable. I tried to ignore it, not wanting to cause a scene at our own engagement party. A month later, we had a family dinner at my parents' house. My cousin showed up late, making a grand entrance and immediately announcing that she'd gotten a huge promotion at work. The way she described it sounded suspiciously like a made-up version of the promotion I'd actually received the month before. When my mom tried to steer the conversation back to wedding planning, my cousin made sure to mention she was recently single while making direct eye contact with my fiancé. Then my fiancé told me my cousin had been texting him frequently. At first she claimed it was about wedding questions, but the messages quickly became more personal and inappropriate. I texted her directly. "I appreciate your enthusiasm about my wedding. Please direct any questions to me, not my fiancé. He's very busy with work and wedding planning right now." Her response? "Sounds like someone's insecure. I'm just being friendly. Chill out." A few weeks before the wedding, my cousin posted a selfie wearing a white dress with a caption, "Just trying out options for an upcoming special event." My mom immediately commented, "I hope that's not for the wedding, since guests don't wear white." Within an hour, the post was deleted, but not before several people had seen it. The day before our wedding, we had our rehearsal dinner at a nice restaurant. Despite not being part of the wedding or immediate family, my cousin showed up uninvited. She claimed there must have been a mix-up with the invitations. My fiancé's brother, bless him, escorted her out. He told her the dinner was only for people in the ceremony. The ceremony was set to begin at 4 p.m. At 3:55, as guests were being seated, the security team I'd hired radioed to the wedding coordinator that a woman in a white dress was attempting to enter the venue. The coordinator confirmed that it was indeed my cousin, and as instructed, security stopped her at the door. I was dancing with my dad when I heard a commotion. I turned to see my cousin, somehow having sneaked in through a service entrance, rushing toward the dance floor where my new husband was chatting with his mother. Before anyone could react, she threw herself at him, attempting to wrap her arms around his neck and kiss him. She shouted, "I can't let you do this. We have a connection.
He's always had feelings for me. He told me so.
My husband pushed her away, looking absolutely horrified. Within seconds, the security team had her by the arms and was dragging her toward the exit as she kicked and screamed.
Ask him about our texts. Ask him about the things he said to me. He's been leading me on for months.
The security team removed her from the venue, and after a few awkward moments, the band started playing again, and people returned to celebrating. My maid of honor made sure everyone had a fresh drink, and my husband and I shared another dance to reset the mood. Despite the drama, we were determined not to let my cousin ruin our day. As for what happened after we returned from our honeymoon, that's a whole other story. Let's just say the drama was far from over, but that's for another post if people are interested. Update, 6 weeks later. It's been about 6 weeks since I posted about my unhinged cousin. I appreciate the advice many of you shared. We returned from our honeymoon to find our family had essentially split into two camps. Most people who actually witnessed my cousin's behavior at the wedding were firmly on our side. They saw firsthand how she threw herself on my husband and tried to ruin our special day. But there was another group, mostly extended family members who weren't at the wedding or only heard about it secondhand, who seemed to believe my cousin's twisted version of events. According to her narrative, my husband had been secretly texting her for months, leading her on and making her believe they had something special. She claimed they had an emotional affair and that he had confessed having doubts about marrying me. When confronted about her behavior at the wedding, she insisted she was just trying to save him from making a mistake and that I was the villain for having security drag her out. The most frustrating part was that she had screenshots of conversations with my husband that she was showing people as proof. Of course, these screenshots were heavily edited and taken completely out of context. She would show a message where my husband said something like, "Thanks for checking in," but conveniently leave out that it was in response to her asking about wedding details, not some intimate conversation. When I found out about these rumors, I asked my husband to forward me all communication he'd ever had with my cousin. He immediately handed over his phone and showed me everything. The complete message history clearly showed her making advances and him either politely redirecting the conversation or ignoring her flirtations altogether. There was absolutely nothing inappropriate on his part, just a man trying to be civil with his fiance's relative while maintaining boundaries. I decided to share the complete, unedited message history with key family members who had been believing my cousin's lies. Several of them apologized to us after seeing the evidence. My uncle, not her father, in particular, was horrified when he saw how she had manipulated the situation and immediately called to apologize for initially doubting us. Small update. It's been about 3 months and unfortunately, the saga with my cousin isn't over yet. Many of you asked for an update, so here's where things stand now. Just when we thought things might be calming down, my uncle, not my cousin's father, reached out to inform us that my cousin had been telling extended family members that she was pregnant with my husband's child. This claim was physically impossible since my husband and cousin had never been alone together, not once during our entire relationship. The good news is that my cousin has moved to another state to live with distant relatives. Apparently, the embarrassment of having her lies exposed to the entire family was finally enough to make her want a fresh start somewhere else. The restraining order remains in effect, and we've made it clear that if she returns to our area, we're immediately reporting any contact attempts to the authorities. I'm posting the final update to close this chapter of our lives. My cousin is getting the help she needs, but we've made it clear to family that we will never have a relationship with her again. Some relatives initially pushed for a reconciliation once she's better, but we've firmly shut down that idea. Some lines can't be uncrossed, and her obsession with my husband and attempts to destroy our relationship definitely fall into that category. Thank you to everyone who offered support and advice throughout this ordeal. Your comments helped me realize I wasn't overreacting and gave me the confidence to stand firm in protecting my marriage. The way she edited screenshots and spread rumors proves she wasn't just overly enthusiastic. She was deliberately trying to sabotage your marriage and your reputation. I'm glad your husband was solid throughout this. The fact that he handed you his phone immediately shows he had nothing to hide. Honestly, the restraining order was the right move. And it's a blessing she moved states. She's not just weird, she's toxic and unstable. And anyone telling you to reconcile is asking you to let someone back into your life who has already proven they'll burn the house down just to feel like they're winning. You're absolutely right to draw a hard line. Your cousin's obsession wasn't about family, it was about her ego, her competitiveness, and her inability to accept that not everything is about her. Do you have a cousin like this? Share your stories with us in the comments below. Up next, sometimes life hands you twins and a C-section, and then adds a husband who thinks your recovery is too much work for him to notice. Am I the a-hole for acting like a maid at my sister's house after she gave birth? My sister, 39 female, Just had twins 2 weeks ago via C-section. If you've ever been around someone recovering from a C-section, you know it's basically a major abdominal surgery. She's exhausted, sore, still bleeding, and trying to figure out life with 2 newborns. Her husband, 32 male, has been less than helpful. He keeps telling her that since his job is too hard and busy, she needs to handle everything at home, cleaning, laundry, cooking, and of course taking care of 2 babies. She called me crying one night because she was overwhelmed, so I went over there the next day. Now, I didn't go to hold babies and play fun aunt. I know my sister. She cannot stand clutter or mess, and her house was stressing her out on top of everything else. So I cleaned, organized, folded laundry, littered the dishwasher, wiped down counters, vacuumed, and even prepped a couple of meals for her. I told her not to worry about lifting a finger. She cried again, this time from gratitude. She kept saying how much it helped her mental health just to have a clean space while she heals. Here's the problem. Her husband came home and was livid. Not at me, but at her. He accused her of making him look bad because I came over and did everything he thinks she should be doing. He literally said, "She's the mom, not you. You're just acting like a maid." For the record, my sister didn't even ask me to do all that. I did it because I could see she needed help. She defended me, told him she's still healing, and reminded him that doctors literally told her not to lift heavy things or overexert herself. He brushed it off and doubled down that she should suck it up because everyone else manages. Now there's tension in their house. My sister keeps thanking me, but her husband's icy with her and making some snide comments like, "Don't worry, your maid will handle it." I feel awful because the last thing I wanted to do was make things worse for her. Let's see what the community thinks. First up, not the a-hole. Tell him if he would act like a father and a husband, you wouldn't have to act like a maid. Edit to add, would to wouldn't. The next person says, "Oh my God, she married this man? She's stuck in with kids. That absolutely sucks." Of course, Reddit is going to say she needs to leave. I just wish the signs had been seen before the kids because there are always signs. Not the a-hole a million times over. You didn't make him look bad. He made himself look bad. He's a horrible husband and needs to get his head on straight. He needs to have introspection and fast. Update. Hi everyone. Thanks for all the comments on my original post. A few days have passed and things escalated quickly. The next day after I posted, I packed up my sister and the twins and moved them into my house. She's now staying in my master bedroom, so she has space, privacy, and an ensuite, and I moved into my guest room. Now, about her husband. He's a doctor, which makes it even worse that he's been acting like her C-section recovery is no big deal. So yesterday, I went down to his hospital. I told the nurses and the receptionist everything he's been doing and not doing at home. I wasn't screaming or anything, just very loudly sharing stories in places where a lot of people could overhear, like how Dr. X thinks his wife should scrub floors while she's still bleeding from abdominal surgery. Let's just say his coworkers now know he's a lot better at prescribing rest than actually supporting it. After that, I called his mom. For context, she and I are really close. We're basically the same person in different ages. I told her every single day what he did, what he hasn't done, what he's said, and what he hasn't said. Glad to say she was not impressed. And I didn't stop there. With my parents' help, I told the rest of the family. Close relatives, extended family, cousins, everybody. I literally spent the whole day calling and updating people about my brother-in-law's behavior. If he wanted my sister to feel humiliated and unsupported, well, now he gets to feel it too. Yes, I know that what I did was a total witch move, but sometimes two negatives make a positive. It even says so in math. So here's the update I'm sure many of you were waiting for, and I hope I was petty enough for all of you. This man is out here bragging about being a doctor while simultaneously ignoring the fact that his wife just had major abdominal surgery. Newsflash, doc, if someone sliced your abs open and stapled them back together, you wouldn't be scrubbing toilets either. He keeps whining about being made to look bad. No, sir, you are bad. You're a grown man with 2 newborns, and instead of stepping up, you're sulking because your wife's sister made you look like the lazy, selfish coward you actually are. Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.